Welcome back to Bleacher Brawls, the home of the greatest rivalry in professional sports between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. This is your Sunday night, Monday morning show. It's our rivalry show. We're talking about Yanks and Sox. I got the normal Sunday night, Monday morning crew here. I'm here with the founding fathers of Bleacher Brawls, John and Luke. My name is Pat, and we're going to talk all the things that we talk on Sunday nights and Monday mornings. Little Sox, little Yanks, catch up with the two teams, and look at what's coming up ahead. We're going to start, as we always do, with our first pitch, checking with these guys, see how they're doing. John, I will go to you first. Give me your first pitch.
All right, well, it's a good holiday, 4th of July weekend. I actually have to start off with a question back to you guys, because I've always thought family reunions were just something that happened in TV and movies and never happened in real life. Like, I've never been to a family reunion on either side of my family. And I was curious, just really quickly, have you, either of you guys ever been to a family, have either of your families ever been to a family reunion?
Yeah, I've been to well, every 3rd of July, actually. So tomorrow would be when it happens. We used to have a family reunion at my uncle's place. Not my first uncle, but first uncle once removed or whatever. I have a big Italian family, and we would all get together the day before the 4th of July.
Okay, so going a couple generations back, not just like your parents, like siblings. You're talking like you're going way back, like cousins, like your parents' cousins, your parents' second cousins. You guys have done that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like a distant part of my family that's also Italian that does reunions, but I've never been to one, but they do it every year.
Wow. So, okay, my family's Italian, but we're more on the grudge holding side, and everybody hates each other. So I guess that's probably why we've never had them. Never knew this was a real thing. And my wife's family has been doing it on her mother's side, like every other year for the past couple of years. So that was just a little mind blowing to me. I thought it was odd, but now maybe it's just, like I said, the grudge holding Italian sides of my family, on both sides of my family. But the cool thing about this family reunion was it was at a like Texas social club where it's like a little dance hall, a little bar area, and bowling. And we're talking, this bowling alley is so old that they actually you have pin setters. There's no, like, they don't have any electronic scoring. It's a projector screen, and you're writing it on like marker and then erasing and doing it again. It was a heck of an experience. So definitely one of the better family reunions that they've done, or definitely the best one, because it involved bowling. But these lanes were all like, there was definitely something up with the lanes, and it wasn't just me. Like Uncle Alan, another, and a couple other people there. Luke knows Uncle Alan. They go bowling there, and they say like, yeah, these lanes are terrible. Like so like I was starting to lose my mind. They're like, no, chill out. Like, you're like, it's okay. Like, these are horrible lanes. Like, you can't bowl well on these lanes. If you're a good bowler, you don't want to bowl here. So it was just old school. You tip the pin setters like $5 when you're done, because they were fast. So all in all, it was just a really interesting day. I've never been to anything like that before, and I definitely recommend it.
Have you ever been duck pin bowling?
Yes, I've been duck pin bowling.
It sounds like the same thing. It's like a big thing around here in Baltimore. I want to say duck pin was invented in Baltimore, and like same thing. All the places around here are like super old school. There's actually a lane that like boasted itself as the place where Babe Ruth would go duck pin bowling when he lived here, but it I think went out of business about a year ago. But we went there a couple of times.
What's duck pin?
Duck pin is like the pins are shorter and the ball is like this big and there's no holes, and you also get 3 rolls per frame.
Oh, so it's
like it's very similar.
Bowling.
Yes,
maybe
it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Yeah. It's in Connecticut. It was called duck pin, but I remember when we went up to college, everyone up there was referring it to as candle pin, and to my understanding, it was pretty much the same thing.
Okay, yeah, I've played it. It's hard. It's the ball's so damn
harder,
small.
yeah.
It's a lot harder. I remember that. I haven't done it in years though.
Luke, do you have a first pitch?
Yeah, and not really. Just trying to stay cool. It's actually cooling down where John and I are in the San Antonio area, area. It's more mid 90s now, so it's we're in a bit of a cold snap. It's out of the hundreds. It's not 100, 100, 104, 105 every single day, so that helps. So I mean, going to his family reunion, like it's just, I'm sure it's nice just as long as the place is air conditioned, that's fine. Like if the lanes suck, if the bowling is not enjoyable, if you're with people you don't know or really want to spend all that time with, at least you're not dripping sweat every second. So that's what we did today. We took the kids to Living Spaces, the furniture store, today, and it's actually pretty sweet. It's a big furniture store, and they have a great kids play area with like a big climbing play set thing. It's like 3 stories tall that the kids can climb on. And they have in that room, it's a kids room where you can drop the kids off and they can play while you go shopping. And they also have a bar, a very limited bar, but you can sit there, you can drop the kids off. A couple times my wife and I just went just to give us a little break, like drop the kids off, let them play, and then sit at the bar and watch. I watched the USA England World Cup match there whenever that was, a few months ago. And so we did that today, but we were actually shopping for a couch, and we bought a couch and made the order and everything. It was going to be delivered in 4 to 6 weeks. And then we got home and then we measured the area and found out the couch is way too big for our living room. So we had to cancel the order, and now we have to go back in a couple days. So that was a bit of a bummer, but it was a bummer that because we really like the couch, but it was a nice, it's a nice time. It's a nice furniture store to go to. If I don't know how many Living Spaces have that kind of setup, but highly recommend it for anybody who's in the Texas area. Go to the Living Spaces and Shirts if you have small kids.
I don't have much going on myself, to the point of it being hot and to the point of living in Baltimore. I live in a super old building and there's no central AC, so I'm running an AC unit next to me. I'm trying to hit the noise reduction Riverside. Hopefully that works and isn't too annoying for the folks at home. If it is annoying, I'm sorry, but I would like it to make it through the end of the episode. Let's jump into it. John, I'll go to you first for some Yankee stuff. So obviously the news of the week since the last time we spoke, Domingo Germán throws his perfect game. You guys had your bonus episode on Friday, I believe it was, that dropped, breaking that one down. Yankees, interesting kind of, I don't know, past couple series, 5-5 in their last 10, lose to a bad team in St. Louis, beat a good team in Oakland, beat a bad team in Oakland, beat a good team in Texas, kind of up and down. It's baseball, it's June, but your thoughts on the past week or so and how the Yanks have been doing?
You're muted.
All right, fixed, unmuted now. Pat, you nailed it when you said up and down, because that's what this has been with the Yankees. They come off that big, they beat Seattle, who I realize doesn't necessarily have the best record, but they are a pretty good team, or at least on paper, they're a good team. They take a series from the Texas Rangers, and then, you expect them to take 2 out of 3 from the Athletics, if not sweep the series. And then, going into the Cardinals, it's again, even though it's in St. Louis, you still kind of expect 2 out of 3. So it's been something else. I think the real test, though, is obviously coming into this week and facing not your Baltimore Orioles, but your hometown's Baltimore Orioles. Because this is going to be a big series. It's a good test. The Baltimore Orioles are ahead of the Yankees in the division. And the Yankees traditionally have gone into Baltimore and usually beat them up. I don't know if that's going to happen this time. I am excited to see the series because I do want to see the young talent in Baltimore, and I think this could it could be a really good 10 series with a lot on the line. So I'm excited for that. And then, so that's really, I think going to be very telling of this Yankees team without Aaron Judge is how they perform against an in-division team. And then, of course, we have to mention Domingo Germán's perfect game, which was awesome. It's just an amazing, perfect game. We dropped the bonus episode, so we don't have to talk about it too much in length because I can still go on and on about what a great, just how dominant of a performance he was, only throwing 99 pitches, not even hitting a 100 pitch mark, and being able to throw a perfect game under those conditions, especially the longest perfect game of all time. I mean, at least it has to be, I would think. Perfect games should usually be pretty quick, and this game took forever with like the Yankees batting around for like a half hour, I think, in the fifth inning. Oakland had a pitching change because of injury, and like every inning just kept dragging on and on and on. I mean, so it was a really long game, but all in all, you have to be so happy for Domingo Germán. It seemed like it was a really emotional game because even before that, he had dedicated it to his uncle that had just died. I don't know if you guys knew that. Before that start, he's like, I'm pitching this game for my uncle, and so who he had been really close to. So it was just a great story all in all. I picked it up still somewhat early in the game. I had to put the kids to bed and whatever. So by the time I turned on the game, I start like kind of like half paying attention. I think it was in the fifth inning, and I hear Ryan Ruocco mention, however he like 15 up, 15 down, or whatever it was at that point, and that's when it kind of caught my attention. And every pitch, every inning, like it just got more and more real because I was kind of thinking, this might not happen. And but sure enough, like just that ninth inning, that was it was intense, and I'm really glad I got to stay up and see it. So just happy all in all about that. And I mentioned Ryan Ruocco. One thing I forgot to say on our episode, on our special edition episode, was knowing what an egomaniac Michael Kay is, like having listened to his radio show. And I mean, I like Michael Kay, but he's clearly an egomaniac. That must kill him inside to have missed that perfect game because it's on the West Coast and he didn't want to travel, and it happens out there, and the understudy gets called a perfect game. So I think that was pretty funny too. As much as I like Michael Kay, that just has to be eating him alive.
Is that why he wasn't there? Does he just not go to the West Coast trips?
Yeah, he tries not to travel out west that much. Even
that's like, for what that guy must be making for that job. That's just so pathetic. Like, there's something to be said for people that are so, I don't care if you're an institution or whatever, like how famous you are. Like, if you're at that point where you got this kind of, you're making these kind of diva demands, like, oh, I don't go out on the West Coast, like, then why not just cut them loose and bring in somebody else who will actually do the whole job? Because you could probably get anybody else in broadcasting that's in the New York area will do that job, and happily do it for a hell of a lot less than Michael Kay would do it. Is doing
Michael Kay is so good. He is so good. And I mean, for what it's worth, I respect it. And the Yankees have always had a lot of announcers, so this isn't really like necessarily a new thing. Like, they've always kind of had their B team announcers on the West Coast games, because when those are starting at 10 o'clock on the East Coast, like, how many people are actually watching those games anyway? So it's not really a new thing for New York. They've always had their B teams that kind of cover games like that. And Michael Kay is good. So, and if I were in his position, I would do it too. Who wants to go to? Why would you want to go to Oakland? I mean, like, I can really get started here on why you wouldn't want to go to California, specifically Oakland and Los Angeles, but
because somebody might throw a perfect game. That's why. But I hate it. Like, there should be two guys. Growing up, there was always two guys, and until Jerry Remy got sick for the first time with the Red Sox, all growing up, there was just, the games were broadcast on two different networks for a while, but Jerry Remy was on both networks, and it would just be a different play-by-play guy depending on if it was on NESN or TV 38 or UPN or whatever channel was doing the Friday night baseball games. But it's just, and now the Red Sox, they have a rotating cast of color guys. Dave O'Brien on TV is always there, but now they got Kevin Millar, and they got Kevin Youkilis, and they got my mind's going blank right now for some reason. But Lou Merlone, Wakefield. Merlone. Yeah, there's like 7 different guys Middlebrooks. There's like 7 different guys that rotate in, and I just never got that. Maybe they're just mixing and matching, just looking for the permanent guy. to come in, but I think it just make it Euclid and move on if he's willing to do that kind of schedule. Clearly he doesn't need the money, but the thing is, yes, Michael Kay is a really good announcer. John Sterling is the exact opposite. He's the worst I have ever heard. But one thing I will respect, John says for some reason he respects the power move Michael Kay is making. I mean, like, I'm not going to travel past the Mississippi River, but like, it's John Sterling. He didn't miss a game for like 56 straight years that he was doing that radio job. He made something like 15,000 straight games until he finally missed one, I think, to go to like his daughter's wedding or graduation or something like that. So say what you will, as terrible as he is, at least he's dedicated. And about the Herman perfect game, I'm just picturing in my mind like him shaking hands, high-fiving everybody as soon as he gets to the locker room, like Josh Donaldson, being near him and just saying kind of under his breath, loud enough for Herman to hear it, like saying something like, "Oh, big deal, it's the A's. Give me a break." Because I mean, that's what I was thinking. And Josh Donaldson, he wants out of there, and he's jealous of anybody having any success with New York. So I was just picturing him being like, "It's the A's, who cares?"
So my dad had wanted to know two things going into this recording. He wanted to know how Luke was going to explain the Red Sox collapsing in front of our eyes right now and explain that away as a good thing and not a big deal. And he also wanted to hear how Luke was going to downplay a perfect game. So, Dad, here's number one.
Don't act like you weren't downplaying it in your own mind. Come on.
How many other times have other teams thrown a perfect game against the A's? Like, people keep saying, "Oh, it's the A's." Well, no one else has thrown a perfect game against the A's this year, no matter how bad they are. No one else has hit the A's, no matter how bad they are. They're still professional hitters. A perfect game is a perfect game, and it's so rare for something like that to happen. It doesn't matter that it's against a bad team. I'm sure a lot of perfect games have been against bad teams, not Don Larson's.
It's not just a bad.
Right.
It's a team so bad that they're moving to a different city next year because they couldn't get enough people to come to the games and watch them play. That's just facts. Those are facts.
No matter how bad the Cleveland Indians were in Major League, they didn't want to have a perfect game thrown against them. They went out there and tried. They knew they were trying to. Rachel Phelps was trying to move them to Miami, and they're like, no, we're going to go out there and compete. I'm sure that's the locker room mentality with the Oakland A's. They're probably watching Major League on every plane ride and pumping themselves up like they want us out, so this is how we're going to win. And then Domingo Herman went out there and just dominated them and dashed any hopes of them, like thinking they could pull off a Major League type ending. And for Domingo Herman, this is a good... For Domingo Herman, like this is another crossroads for him. Some pitchers, like David Cohn was saying, David Wells was a completely different pitcher after his perfect game. Some pitchers, like maybe someone like that can put it together and become a completely different pitcher. I mean, it'd be wonderful if Domingo Herman can do that, but like realistically, Domingo Herman has not always shown to be a consistent, mentally tough guy. So I think fans that are out there saying like, "Oh, he's going to be like a new dominant pitcher," like it was just the best game of his life. We're lucky to have watched it. It's a special game, but I'm not expecting Domingo Herman to just be a completely different pitcher from this point forward.
To your point about John Sterling, Luke, he called 5,060 games in a row. After missing a couple of games for the death of his sister in 1989, it was until he had his own health issues a couple of years ago that he had to stop his streak.
John, 5,060? 5,060? So that's 31. That's over 31 consecutive seasons full seasons of games. And Michael Kay won't get on a flight that needs a connection for some reason.
It's Sterling. It's like, dude, you can't take a game off. We were listening because we were blacked out in Texas on the Major League Baseball TV, the app I use on my phone and television to watch the Yankees. So I was listening to it on the radio while we ate dinner. That's kind of a tradition in our household. We put the Yankee game on during baseball season, put the Yankee game on while we watch dinner, and that's like the time I get to watch the Yankees on TV until all the kids go to bed. I'm otherwise watch on my phone, so I can't do that when they're playing Texas. So I have it on I have it on playing on the Bluetooth speaker, and Sterling has one of his typical calls where it sounds like it's going to be a home run, and it's like a fly out. Like, God, this guy drives me crazy. Like, this is why I can't listen to games on the radio for 31 years.
The best ever was in the wild card game in 2021. The
Stantonian home run.
The Stanton single off the
It was
wall.
a single off the wall.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the one where Judge got thrown out at home or if it was just the first one where it was just a single, but it was the fart in church. Like he did his whole routine, the Stantonian thing. I was like, oh no, it went off the wall. Like, how do you miss the ball? It's one thing if the ball, first of all, it's a short wall and the fielder is like has his back to the wall and it just falls in the glove instead of like 3 feet behind him landing over the wall. But it hit 36 feet high on the green monster, and he somehow misses that because he's 97 years old and he's got poor eyesight.
All right, let's talk about the Red Sox. And Luke, I'm gonna be careful with my words here. I'm gonna read the words that you put into the agenda and you've been saying in the chat, because I know some folks are gonna have some issues with this, and I want to make it clear it's coming out of your mouth. Okay, you wrote Sox dominate the Yankees and the Jays, but suck versus everyone else. Now, John will have his moment in a minute. I know that Caroline took issue with this in the chat yesterday. They dominate the Yanks and the Jays. Go ahead with that.
I missed that. I missed Caroline taking an issue with that. I'll have to go back and look at that. It's absolutely 100% true. If the Red Sox got to play the Yankees and the Blue Jays 162 games this year, and instead of having to play the other 28 teams, and they'd be 14 games up on Tampa right now. They'd have run away with it. They'd probably have clinched the division by now. On July 2nd. They are 12-1 versus the Yankees and the Blue Jays. 7-0 versus the Blue Jays, 2 sweeps, 1 at Fenway, 1 in Toronto, and 5-1 versus the Yankees. Shows just how good the Red Sox can be and how much they can step up when the stakes are high, when the game is important, and just shows how frustrating it is when you see the end result, where they're 1 game over 500 and they're getting swept by mediocre teams and going 2-3 weeks at a time, scoring like 1.3 runs a game or something like that. It's the complete opposite of last year, when they couldn't buy a victory against the American League East, when it took until August to win a series against the American League East. And last year they were 3-16 against the Blue Jays. 3-16. I have no idea what the run differential was between the two teams in that series, and I don't even want to know because I don't want to relive it. But it's like when the Red Sox play the Yankees and when the Red Sox play the Blue Jays this season, it's like men playing against pathetic little children. It's really it's utter domination. There is no comparison between these two teams on the field when they play. The Yankees and the Blue Jays cannot beat the Red Sox this season, and they're half done with all the games against those two teams. So it's specifically this series, Jared Duran, Justin Turner, and Rafael Devers are all hitting right now, meaning the offense is clicking. 3 guys at the top of the order, all getting hits. Jared Duran had 5 hits today, 5 for 5 with 4 doubles, tied a Major League record with 4 doubles in one game. And when those guys cool off, not just those guys, when those guys cool off, when they do cool off, which will happen soon, it'll be an entire different team. It's just the nature of baseball. And when your offense is short a couple key bats, then, and I don't even mean injured, I mean, just they are, even at full strength right now, they are still 1 big bat short of being a contending team, which is really frustrating. So utter domination of those two teams, the two teams that were maybe the 2 toughest teams that played the Red Sox last year. They don't show up against the Red Sox this year. So that's been fun, a nice positive to this season. And I want to touch on, before I move on from this, while we're talking about the Blue Jays, I want to touch on the absolute hilarity of Alek Manoah's downfall this year, especially because it happened before he got paid. He was a rookie last season. Maybe he was a rookie in 2021, but I think last season was his rookie year. Someone can, it wasn't? Oh, okay. All right. Well, he was, it was his breakout year anyway, and he was a star. Did he start the All-Star game, or he was he pitched in the All-Star game, I'm pretty sure. He talked way too much for a guy who was just in his breakout season, hadn't earned that right yet, and he sucks now. He got cleaned out in the Florida Complex League, was it? He gave up like 10 runs on 12 hits in 2 innings his last time out. So it's glorious to see someone with such a big mouth have such a huge fall from grace. Alejandro Kirk is also a bum this season after having a really good season last year, and good first half anyway. He was an all-star last year. So, so maybe there is something to being in shape if you want some longevity as a Major League Baseball player, and not, thinking you can just eat cheeseburgers and fries, every night and still go out and dominate. It's not that kind of sport the way it was in the 60s. So Major League Baseball players, you may want to, mix in a workout now and then. I call it the Willie Calhoun effect. Clearly there's nobody on the Toronto Blue Jays or the New York Yankees to keep the guys on their team eating right. There's no real voice in either of those locker rooms making sure those players are eating right. And as John will attest, John will be the first one to say the primary job of a team leader is to make sure that nobody in the locker room is getting fat. And clearly the Yankees and the Blue Jays have nobody on the team that is doing that. Good weekend, frustrating season, but great weekend. The Red Sox sweeping the Blue Jays. That's real positive. The Red Sox utterly dominating the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Great stuff.
Nobody on the Yankees is fat.
Where's that coming from? Willie Calhoun is
not fat. You're comparing Willie Calhoun to Alejandro Kirk. Willie Calhoun to Alejandro. You're comparing Willie Calhoun to Alejandro Kirk. You can't even get Rafael Devers is fatter than Willie Calhoun, and even Joey said it on this past year's Red Sox podcast from Thursday. That's right. I listened before this episode for a change, and I caught that even Joey called out Devers for being fat. So get out. You cannot compare Willie Calhoun to Alejandro Kirk. Not even close.
Look at his face. Look at Willie Calhoun's face.
Google image Willie Calhoun right now. You are the two, and then Google image Alejandro Kirk, and then look at the two of them together. It's not even close.
He's got a face like a blowfish. You can do that because you're big. And you blamed Devers, Devers' chubbiness on Kike Hernandez not getting his diet in order.
Partially,
so yes,
partially.
I'm gonna say the same to you.
But partially, that's on Devers too. What did you expect? He got, as Joey said, I think he got paid, fat, and lazy. Is that, I got to give Joey credit for all. It was something around those lines.
You said he's got paid and now he's fat and happy, which is like a saying.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's fat.
Yeah, no, he was calling him fat. No, I took it how I took it. Look, I listened to the episode, right?
When Willie Calhoun hauls ass, he has to make 2 trips.
Well, you know what? Rafael Devers better be careful how he moves around Massachusetts. It's a small state. He might tip it over.
All right. John, do you have anything to say about Luke saying that the Red Sox have dominated the Yankees and the Jays this year?
Oh God, this is typical Luke deflecting. His last place Red Sox are in last place. They had a couple good series against two teams that are better than them in their division that just went ice cold. And now, if we played them every single game, we'd have a 700, 800 winning percentage. That's some very interesting math that wouldn't really play out in reality. Look, it's just typical Luke deflecting. The fact of the matter is the Red Sox are a bad team, and I respect Joey is the only Red Sox fan in Bleacher Brawls that has the guts to call out the team for being bad. Like, Luke's over here saying, Chaim Bloom's a genius. This is all part of his secret plan. We're going to be really bad, and this secret plan is going to play out. Pat's trying not to walk off the ledge. Derek's talking about the farm system, and then Joey comes out and says, no, this team is terrible. Things need to get fixed. And as much as I want to see things go wrong with the Red Sox, he is right. Like, this is a bad team right now that needs to get fixed. And Luke is to come into this conversation with me knowing that his team is falling apart, and he has to deflect and try to say, we own the Yankees. So that's all I have right now because my team's in last place. And it's a terrible team, and this secret plan of Chaim Bloom that Joey's always telling me that Luke's talking about, it's just really falling apart.
Terrible team. They're over 500. And by no stretch of the imagination are they a terrible team. And how is that deflecting? Are the Red Sox not 12-1 against the Yankees and the Blue Jays?
So you think that would play out? That's going to play out like. If they play them, now they're going to go 24-2 against those two teams. So you think they're? So what you're saying? Wait. So you're saying you think the Red Sox are going to go 24-2 against the Yankees and Blue Jays?
I'm saying they're 12-1 against them.
So you think they're going to go 24-2?
I mean, we're halfway through the season, right? They're 12-1. So that's how you project for the second half. So why should I not think that when you have absolutely dominated two teams the way the Red Sox have dominated the Yankees and the Blue Jays for the first half, what reason could we possibly have for thinking that the Yankees and Blue Jays could figure out how to defeat this team that neither of them can beat?
Well, considering how the Red Sox have been dominated by every other team in baseball and repeatedly dominated by every other team in baseball, there's a good chance it's just going to chip away at their confidence. And by the time they get to the Yankees again, the Yankees are going to beat up on them. I don't foresee I know how you got to say, they're dominating the Yankees because that's all you got right now. I mean, even your fantasy baseball team just got smacked up by Joey. But that's all you have in baseball right now is beating the Yankees. So I understand why this is so important to you. But I don't see it as relevant. And the next time they play, I don't think it's going to be what we just saw a couple weeks ago. It's not even really that relevant anyway, because this happened 2 weeks ago now? At least against the Yankees. I don't care about the Blue Jays.
Okay, so it happened 2 weeks ago, so it doesn't count.
And the Yankees have beaten the Rangers, which are a better team than you since then. So yeah, the bats went ice cold. It doesn't mean that the Yankees can't beat the Red Sox. It just went ice cold.
I don't know. You would think they would do it more than, less than 20% of the games they played them in this season.
All right. Let's move on, shall we?
How is it deflecting? I'm just saying they're 12-1.
All you have to live for is beating the Yankees, and it's not going to happen again. You're harping on this now because your team's bad. And you know, next time the Yankees play the Red Sox, they're going to beat up on the Red Sox, and you're not going to be able to say this again. So you're just trying to get it out.
They're one game over 500. How is that terrible?
Secret plan has failed.
They're one game over 500. How is that terrible?
Last place.
All right, let's move on. We record the show on Sunday nights today. Earlier today, we heard about the All-Star selections for both teams. We knew that Aaron Judge had been voted in as an All-Star starter for the Yankees, but obviously is not going to play. So the only new selection for them is Garrett Cole for the Red Sox only selection. It's tough. We got the obligatory every team needs one. We got Kenley Jansen. Luke, I'll start with you on the Sox side. Kenley Jansen, All-Star. Leaving out a lot of folks, maybe, sorta. Let me know.
I mean, I don't necessarily think there are a lot of folks left out. It was, I mean, and I know a lot of Red Sox fans are saying it's a crime that Alex Verdugo didn't make the All-Star team, and he's had a great season, but this is just the way the All-Star game works. If you're an outfielder and you want to make the All-Star game, you got to hit home runs. Now, he hit a bomb today to beat the Blue Jays. He's been Mr. Clutch this season. He's been hitting right around 300 all season. He's been playing great defense. He's definitely got a case for being considered an all-star snub, but look who got voted. Look who got voted in. First of all, Aaron Judge, who's got 19 home runs in 43 games or whatever, 49 games. Jordan Alvarez, who, I mean, I don't have their stats in front of me, but power hitters, Mike Trout, Randy Arozarena, who's, I don't consider him a power hitter. He's a really good all-around player. I mean, you gotta, that's who people vote for, and that's who people want to see. People want to see star sluggers. You know, I love Verdugo. I feel like this is Verdugo's breakout season. He's been great this season, but I mean, come on. And Devers, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Josh Young's numbers this year, but I mean, Devers' average is way down, and I think this is, oh wow, yeah, this is kind of a snub here. I think the Rangers fans I got the numbers in front of me now. I think the Rangers fans kind of stuffed the ballot box on this fan, which is their right. You know, the Blue Jays have been doing it for years. I was afraid they were going to do it this year, but I mean, Young's average is like 15 points higher than Devers, but he's only got 17 home runs. Devers has 20. He only has 50 RBIs. Devers has like 64 or so. So there's one. It should be Devers and Jose Ramirez in the All-Star game. So you can definitely say Devers got snubbed. I don't consider Verdugo a snub, though. I don't consider Chris Martin a snub. He's had a great year, but no relievers ever make the All-Star game. It's just closers all the time in the All-Star game. And who else has a legitimate case? Nobody on the team, you could say, has a legitimate case to be an all-star. Maybe Jarren Duran, if he started the season, could have, because he'd have 40 doubles by now if he started the season, because everything he hits that's not a smoking line drive that takes one hop to an outfielder, every hit he has is a double. But no, I mean, Devers should be in, but and Kenley Jansen is only in because the Red Sox need a representative, and Devers didn't get voted in. And you can't and I don't think you can put Devers in over Jose Ramirez. So I don't think Kenley Jansen deserves to be an all-star, but Devers does. Devers should be the only representative for the Red Sox, I think.
I mean, in Josh Young's defense, he is playing on a winning team, so maybe that's what helps him get some votes. He's a little bit more noticeable than playing for a last-place team. As far as Verdugo being an all-star, if I saw something today, I might be wrong about this. Was today's home run was his first home run in like 2 months, or some insane amount of time? Okay,
May 1st.
All right, yeah, that's some all-star type level of play there.
Yeah, I wasn't arguing for it.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Point taken.
Garrett Cole.
Don't pitch him. I hope just give him an excuse why he can't pitch in the All-Star game. The Yankees have enough injury problems. The last thing I want to see is a Yankee pitcher going out and pitching in the All-Star game. I give it to Herman. I mean, look, I don't want to see Herman get hurt.
What?
But he just pitched a perfect game. Listen, he just pitched a perfect game. Send him out there ceremonially, and I don't want any other players playing in the All-Star game. It's a meaningless game. And I don't want, and again, so yeah, it's not like I'm saying Herman should be an all-star. I'm saying I don't want our good players going out there and playing. So yeah, Aaron Judge, I mean, I'm sure he's in because a lot of those votes came in before he got hurt and then before anyone really knew how long he was going to be out for. He's obviously he's the face of baseball, if not at least one of the faces, and probably arguably the best player in baseball, but that's an argument for another time and place.
There is no argument for that whatsoever.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't care about the All-Star game that much. I'd rather see less Yankees in it than more Yankees. So that's all. That's kind of my feeling. It meant a lot when I was a kid, when you used to not see the American leaguers play the National Leaguers. You didn't see a lot of movement amongst teams. So it's like a lot of times the only time you really saw some of these guys. It used to mean more then, but now with interleague play and free agency and everything, it just All-Star game is not the same. So I'd just rather not see any Yankees playing in the All-Star game.
If Herman
John,
should be in for throwing a perfect game, then Jaron Duran should go get in because he hit 4 doubles today. That hasn't happened that many times in baseball.
And despite the fact that he's gone through massive slumps where his average drops 120 points, he'd have 40 doubles if he played all season. And I'm not saying Herman belongs in the All-Star game, all right? Like I'm saying it as a way to express how much I don't want Garrett Cole pitching in the All-Star game. I'm saying you have to send one representative. I think that came across wrong, but I'm not saying Domingo Herman should be an All-Star just because he threw a perfect game. I just want to clarify that.
So to your point, John, I was actually saying earlier, like, I feel like all these guys like want to be All-Stars because of course you do, you know, it's an honor and an accolade and this and that. But also, like, wouldn't you like the 4 days off? Like, it probably seems like a pain in the ass sometimes. Well, Garrett Cole seems like he always likes the time off because he's been selected to be an All-Star 6 times. He's only pitched in the All-Star game once, and that was his very first All-Star game in 2015.
He's a smart man. Smart man.
And I remember specifically him saying last year, like, I'll go, but I'm not going to pitch.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
Devers has
Red
3.
Sox fans, where is it? It's in Toronto this year or something? I don't even Seattle there. Good. Who can't Seattle? God, I care even less. Well, no, I care less about Toronto than Seattle. But the point being, I don't care about any of the fans out there. I don't want you to see. If you want to see Garrett Cole, you go buy a ticket when the Yankees come to Seattle. All right.
Do you feel like the All-Star game, and I don't mean this as like dismissive to people who like it, because I enjoyed it a certain amount, but like, do you feel like the All-Star game is like mainly for kids? Because when I was a kid, it was like maybe my favorite part of the year. Like, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And now it's just kind of like, okay, I can see any of these guys play anytime I want because I have MLB TV. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me.
No, because it's the one All-Star game that is enjoyable to watch. The Pro Bowl is a joke. The NBA All-Star Game is a joke. The NHL All-Star Game is a joke. And, you know, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, it's a decent game. I mean, the score is always going to be 4-2, 5-3, something like that most of the time. It's an actual competitive game. It's not just an offensive exhibition. It's just the pitchers aren't throwing meatballs and letting the hitters.
I miss when it mattered. Remember, it used to affect who would get home field in the World Series.
I hated that.
I loved it.
The person that the home field advantage should not be decided by just one exhibition game. It's like, you know, so your team makes it to the World Series and they get home field advantage. They get to play game 1 and 7 in their park because a game that maybe 1 or 2 of their players were in. No, it should go to the team with the best record. That's way too important to be decided on that. I remember when that started. This time it counts. Like, no, well, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It's better as just an exhibition game.
All right, guys, let's move on to our game this evening. We like to end the show playing some kind of game. This week we're playing one of our favorites, Cuddle, Marry, Trash. You might be able to guess what that's a reference to. If not, you'll pick up on it quickly. Luke, this is your brainchild, so I'm going to let you kind of introduce it. You're calling it Cuddle, Marry, Trash Single Game Accomplishments Edition.
Yes, this is in honor of the fake perfect game that Domingo Herman threw earlier this week. So we're going to do a Cuddle, Marry, Trash edition based on great single game accomplishments that you see and kind of ranking them in your mind, which ones are the most important. So we'll have one grouping. So there's 3 each because it's Cuddle, Marry, Trash. We'll have one grouping for pitching achievements, one grouping for offensive achievements, one grouping for fielding achievements, and then one grouping at the end for the elite top of the heap kind of performances. So just get to see, which of these single game accomplishments are really, really exciting things to be excited about, and which aren't quite as important.
All right, to save some time, I'll let you guys kind of just go back and forth, and I'll pipe in if I have a certain thought. We're going to start with the hitters, or excuse me, the pitchers. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. Culinary Trash, a no-hitter, 20 strikeouts in a game, or a 27-batter complete game shutout. John, I will go to you first. Give me that Culinary Trash.
Luke, that's a good one. I mean, all of these are really, really good because a lot of times it's easy to single out one, and it's going to be painful no matter what you do. So for me, I think I'm going to marry the 20 strikeout game. Games like that are just amazing. I even going back, Guidry struck out 18 in a game. I could rewatch that Yankees Classic. I specifically remember Kerry Wood doing it. And a lot of times when you see that, just pitchers are so untouchable and just have hitters in complete, just completely baffled. Yeah, you might run into a hit now or then, but those games to me are the most exciting. I guess I'm taking the no-hitter. That's a tough one because now it's like 27 hitter complete game. I'm assuming you mean there's like a base hit and then a double play and kind of that's it. Like, I think that might be a little bit more impressive than the no-hitter because there's so many ways the no-hitter can go. You can, like Doc Ellis, I mean, we all know the story behind that, but he walked, 11 guys in his no-hitter? Is that really that impressive? Andy Hawkins lost the no-hitter. A.J. Burnett, I know, threw a no-hitter where he walked like 9 guys. And so I think if we're kind of taking that into all the context of it all, I guess I have to trash the no-hitter because so much could go wrong, whereas the 27-batter complete game is still really impressive.
That was, and Doc Ellis, apparently, according to Doc Ellis, was on acid as well, and that no-hitter he threw while walking 11 guys.
There's a great documentary called No, where he breaks it all down. And yeah, he says, he swears up and down he was high as a kite when he did it.
It's absolutely unreal. Like, how can you even figure out where the strike zone is under those kind of circumstances? So I'm like John, I'm marrying the 20 strikeout game. I feel like it's, other than a perfect game, it's the symbol of utter dominance, much like the Red Sox playing the Yankees and the Red Sox playing the Blue Jays in 2023. It is peak pitching dominance. I think it's only been done 4 times, twice by Clemens, once by Kerry Wood, and once by Scherzer. I think Scherzer did it 4 or 5 years ago. But complete, utter dominance. Really incredible. Who knows if it'll ever be done again, the way pitchers are coddled these days, because they have to be, because they're always getting hurt. Always. Garrett Whitlock, you're freaking killing me, dude. I'm actually going to cuddle the no-hitter. It's an epic feat. You need some luck to get it done. Just like a perfect game, like you can always trace it back to at least one great play. Herman had the Rizzo diving play down the first baseline. Feels like everyone's got one, and also, everyone's probably got a screaming line drive hit right at a fielder too. But I'll still cuddle it. It just has such prominence. As you just say the word no-hitter, everyone knows what it means, and it's really held in such high esteem in sports. And yes, I'll trash the 27-batter complete game shutout. You also need some luck to get that done, a double play, a runner caught stealing, something like that. It's just not quite as impressive as the no-hitter. I mean, your job as a pitcher is to limit hits, like not let the team have the team you're pitching against get as few hits as possible. If you give up no hits, it's just I feel like it's just a different tier.
Here's a pop quiz for you. Which current Red Sox pitcher once struck out 18 in a game?
18?
Yeah.
Paxton did it?
Corey Kluber.
Kluber, really?
Remember when he was really, really good?
Back with the the old
'Cause
Cleveland
he was
team.
really good for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Neither
moving
of us really, none of us on this call really remember Corey Kluber being good, do we?
Nope.
The hitters edition: a walk-off home run, an inside the park home run, or stealing home. Cuddle Mary Trash. Luke, I'll let you go first on this one.
I'm actually going to marry the steal of home. It's such a rare feat. It is so ballsy, and it should be impossible. It's hard enough to steal second base, and the catcher has to throw it. I don't know how far it is from home to second. Is it twice the distance? Is 180 feet? I don't know what it is, but it's a long throw, and it's still hard to steal second base. Stealing home, where the catcher just has to catch it and then put his glove down, it's amazing that that's ever happened. So
it's 130 feet.
130 feet. Okay. So yeah, marrying the steal of home. I'll cuddle the walk-off home run. It's the end-all be-all of boyhood dreams. I mean, every kid who likes baseball grows up thinking about he's playing in the backyard, he's playing with his friends, he's fantasizing about hitting a walk-off home run in the World Series or whatever. It's got to be, as an offensive player, it's got to be the one thing that every player has on their bucket list, and very few get to. I mean, there's a lot of great players who have retired without even hitting a walk-off home run. And I'll trash the inside the park home run. There's usually some fielder miscue or some scorekeeper's benevolence involved with that. There are clean ones that happen sometimes, or like a lucky bounce, a carom. The ball gets hit down the right field line at Fenway and then just rolls around the corner forever. It goes into the triangle, hits off a wall, and Rick caroms one way or another. So I'll have to trash the inside the park home run, though. That's probably the most exciting play in baseball. That's the one I got to trash of these three.
So for me, I'm marrying the walk-off home run. I've hit home runs. I've had game-winning walk-off. I've had a walk-off hit, but I've never had a walk-off home run. I can only imagine that feeling. Just knowing how great it feels to hit a home run, I can only imagine how great it must feel to hit a game-winning home run. And again, if it's for your team, it's pretty awesome. So I'm marrying the game-winning home run for a lot of the reasons what Luke just said. It's just that's that boyhood dream. I'll cuddle the stealing of home, though. Kind of like how there's luck involved with the inside of the park home run. Stealing home, you're usually catching a pitcher off guard, and they're just too focused on the batter. And you have, fortunately, the runner tends to be a really fast, smart guy, but who picks up on that. But again, it's a very impressive feat, but there is a little bit of luck involved in the sense that you can usually catch a pitcher kind of napping. And then lastly, the inside the park home run, for the same reason Luke said, just a lot of those are, maybe it's a double with a couple errors or a triple with an error. It's, again, there's legit ones, but I'd rather watch the game-winning home run or the steal of home.
Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess how many times Ty Cobb stole home in his career?
It's probably like 50 or something crazy.
I'm guessing he spiked the catcher every single time.
54.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He tried it 98 times.
Oh, God.
He tried it 98 times, and he was successful 54 times. So that's I suck at math. So what's that? 44 times he's walking back to the dugout, and his teammates are like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I don't think anyone said anything to him.
Right. I mean, they were thinking it.
He was carrying a pistol while he played, probably, right?
And I don't know how many times of those 54 steals of home that the catcher had the ball, was standing in front of the plate, but Cobb just drop kicked the catcher in the throat, and he dropped the ball because of it.
Yeah. Or even a couple of times he might have been safe and the umpire just hated him and called him out anyway, right? Like, it's a close bang bang play. You're going to defer on the side of Ty Cobb's out.
All right, guys, we only have time for one more, so we're going to do the one that I think obviously ties the best to Herman here. It's our last one. We have Cuddle Mary Trash, a perfect game, hitting 4 home runs or hitting for the cycle. John, you'll go first.
Well, with the relevance of it all, especially, we're going to marry the perfect game. That was just, again, I can't go on and on as much as I can about how awesome that was. It was just a great experience. Domingo, Herman, and I, we really pulled it off, and it's something me and him will never forget. I am marrying actually the 4 home runs, because if you hit 4 home runs, you're very likely to help your team win, unless you're someone like A-Rod. But if you hit 4 home runs, it's usually you're increasing your odds of winning more than you are is for hitting the cycle, which is it's interesting and it's rare, but again, it's a single, in there, it's a double, it's not 4 home runs, so cycle can just kind of be hit on a lucky day, and every now and then you'll see those ones where like the hitter will need the single as the last one. Not like these, it happens all the time, but you've seen it happen where the hitter will need a single and they clearly could have legged out a double, but they stopped for the single anyway. Like, I hate that. So the 4 home runs is definitely Mary, and then we're trashing the cycle. Or I'm sorry, perfect game, Mary, Cuddle, the 4 home runs, trash the cycle.
Yeah, I gotta marry the perfect game too. Like with the no-hitter, you need some luck, but it's perfect. It's legitimately, you're doing your job as a pitcher absolutely perfectly, at least if it's against a legitimate major league team. And I think it's only been done 24 times ever in history. A 4 home run game, that's only been done 15 times in history, but I'm still going to cuddle the 4 home run game and marry the perfect game. Yeah, 4 home runs. If you hit 4 home runs in a game, your team, there's no way your team can lose that game. I can't imagine that's ever been done in a loss. I mean, you're getting 16 total bases, at least 4 runs for your team. And just a random note about a 4 home run game. Mark Whitten had a 4 home run game once, just kind of like a blah player for the Cardinals, but he played with a few different teams. He actually played for the Red Sox, I think, for a hot second there, but
played for the Yankees too.
It's not always legendary players who do it. It's just sometimes players just run into 4 pitches in a game. And trash the cycle. A lot of luck involved there. 4 home runs is way more productive than getting a cycle. Just kind of, it's much better to hit 3 home runs in a game. Probably much better hitting 2 home runs in a game. You're going to be more productive for your team in that way. So got to trash the cycle. Though it's still really cool. I get really pumped if I ever see a player on the Red Sox hit for the cycle, especially if it's done in a playoff game against the Yankees.
You pulled out some of the numbers, Luke, but I had them here and I want to compare them all. So yeah, 4 home runs in a game has happened 18 times is what I have. 24 perfect games, and then 343 cycles. So definitely that number shoots up. The most rare thing to occur is 2 grand slams in 1 inning. It's happened exactly 1 time. Who was it?
Fernando Tatis Sr.
Yep. You guys got it. Cool. Anything else you want to add to that conversation, or want to wrap it up here?
Who was the only pitcher to throw 2 like back-to-back no-hitters?
Bob Feller.
I don't know.
Johnny Vandermeer.
Oh, shoot.
I think Feller did it. I always thought it was just pretty interesting. It's a record that'll never be broken. So no one's throwing 3 straight no-hitters.
I mean, who knows? Herman pitches tomorrow, doesn't he? We'll see.
Back-to-back perfect games.
We can only hope. He's going to go 3 innings. I bet.
Yeah, he'll get hammered. Yeah,
he's going to Whitlock himself.
So when you guys were saying he got hurt today, I had no idea. I have no idea what happened in the Red Sox game today. So
I was just going to touch on that as my my last pitch or whatever for today. Garrett Whitlock went 1 inning today, came out with right elbow tightness. Like, I'm beside myself. And I'll have more about this. I might write about it for my Tuesday column. If not, I'll definitely have something on Friday morning's show. Just Terrible look for Chaim Bloom, especially after Trevor Story getting acquired despite the bum elbow and Bloom getting him anyway, and then he hurts the elbow. And now Garrett Whitlock, he was lined up to be a great closer. Should have stayed as a closer. I thought so at the time. We keep screwing around with him, saying, "Oh, let's make him a starting pitcher." And now, who knows? He might not need to have Tommy John surgery again. Just horrible look for Bloom. And this is, if this is a long injury for Whitlock, this might be enough to turn me on Chaim Bloom. Between this and Story, I don't know. Might be time to move on. I like the idea of what Bloom is doing. I like, that he's building for the long term, building through the farm system. But those are two gigantic blunders that I don't know. I don't know if there's any recovering from that.
Luke, I believe that I have Tuesday on the site this week, but I would actually love to defer to you because I want to hear some more about you potentially turning on Chaim Bloom, and I can push my piece later in the month.
We all want to hear that.
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll see.
Let me know. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it there. So that's a teaser, right? BleacherBrawls.com. You can find all the stuff that we write, stuff that's gone up there recently, Red Sox, Yankee stuff all the time. Luke's blasphemous take that Batman Forever is not a good movie when it is, in fact, exactly the fourth best Batman movie. But we can get into that another time.
Oh, God, I wish we had another hour right now. Oh, my God, I wish.
YouTube channel, that's come back. We had some technical difficulties for a while, but we're back. Bleacher Brawls on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, however long that's going to be around, at Bleacher Brawl. You can find all of our individual Twitters in the description of this episode. This episode, you're listening wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever that is. Hopefully you've already rated us 5 stars, left us a nice review. If you haven't, go ahead and feel free to do that. I think that's pretty much it, guys. So for John, for Luke, myself, I'm Pat. We're going to call it. We'll see you guys later in the week.
Dominant.
Deflecting.
All right, folks, that's the latest episode of Bleacher Brawls. Thanks for tuning in, for rating us 5 stars, and leaving us a nice review. And don't forget to check us out on BleacherBrawls.com, on YouTube, and on Twitter.